Welcome to BookTube Bestseller TV, where we interview fascinating authors and talk about their books. Today we're here with Emily Skinner, who is a wife, mother, sales rep, author, and screenwriter currently residing in Tampa Bay, Florida. So, Emily, thank you for being here today. I'm super excited that you're here with me. And you are the fantastic author of two series of books, the St. Blair series and the Markel series.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you wrote under two different names. You wrote under E.W. Skinner for St. Blair and Emily W. Skinner for the Markel book. So if anybody's watching this, you might double check to see if you can find her books on Amazon under either name, and either name would work. So tell me about, why did you end up writing these books? Like, what was the driving force behind writing the stories?
Okay, well, the first series, the Markel series, started a long time ago. It's the romantic suspense, and basically I had worked with a mentor, Harry Whittington, who is probably Florida's best kept secret. He was a pulp legend. He wrote under multiple names, and he was helpful in teaching me how to write. And from there, he actually kind of greenlit the Markel, the first book. So from there, I went ahead and wrote that book, and it got published much later. That's a kind of a long story there. But eventually, because I named the book Markel, which is my oldest daughter's name, I had to write another series after my youngest daughter. So I came up with the YA book, the St. Blair series. Basically, that's why I had to write in two different names, was because I had two different daughters, and I came up with this brilliant idea when I was 15 years old, of all things, that I was going to write a novel named Markel and have a daughter named Markel. I accomplished that. And then, like I said, once Blair came along, it's like, okay, I've got to come up with something for Blair. And thank goodness I only have two children.
Right, exactly. Now, however, you could have stopped with just one book, but you kept going on in the series. So what propelled you to do that? What was the...
Right, okay. For the St. Blair series, I already knew that it's a futuristic story. So it takes place in the year 2202, and I knew that the two characters were going to have this long journey, and then it was going to be multiple books. The Markel was actually a standalone book, and it wasn't until people started saying, I want to know what happens to her, that I thought, okay, I hadn't really thought about it. Let me go ahead and see if I can plot this. And I actually plotted the whole novel for the sequel of the Markel book. And as I started writing it, it took a whole different direction and definitely would not follow my lead. So I actually have to write the third book because that was the plot for the second book.
Oh, how interesting.
So, hopefully it'll end at 3, but I don't know. My characters might take me again on another journey. So.
Yeah. So Markel's book, if I remember right, I know I did the layout and everything, or ebook conversion or something, but for that particular book, I remember the main character being a strong, powerful woman. That's right,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yes, she's an actress. She is. That's another irony, kind of. My oldest daughter is an actress. I wrote this book. I actually started the germ of the book back when she was probably about 4 years old. So she had no idea. And it was funny because you know how it is. They say that a prophet is not known in his own town.
Yes.
Well, my family, most of them never read any of my books until fast forward many years later. And my daughter was already acting by the time she really read my book. And then she told her agent, her manager, oh yeah, my mom's book named Markel. And he's like, what? What is this? And he's the one that said, I got to know a little bit more about this book. And he's the one that actually helped instigate the book trailer that was later produced. Oh, wow. So I don't know whether I answered the question correctly.
Yeah, I think so. Strong, powerful woman. Yeah.
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 So the character Markel, correct.
Right.
So,
So kind of same concept with St. Blair too, right? I mean, we're talking about
um,
it, but it's kind of more along the YA dystopian type of.
right.
Mhm.
Basically, that book takes place. There's a woman named Sybil, a young woman named Sybil, and she's basically lives in a 24-hour society. She's in a restrictive culture, and she's basically ready to plunge herself off of a building until she finds this diary that is written specifically to her from a girl in the present day named Blair. And Blair is the one that helps her save her world. And so I'm actually ready to publish the third book soon, which is The Diary of St. Blair. But the first two books basically are Sybil's journey and how Blair helped her.
Yeah,
It,
yeah. When we worked on that book, I remember the cover design was really. I mean, the covers you've put out have been just stunning. I mean, just very well done, beautiful. They kind of have that grunge sort of look about them, where it's like kind of rough around the edges a little bit, but very well designed and very well done. And that's one thing about you that really impressed me, was that you were willing to go there. You know, where you were willing to go the extra mile to make sure the covers looked right, the interior looked right. You know, everything was done just really, really well. And of course, your writing is fantastic too. So it's kind of the whole package of
think,
a good book.
well, but I would not have those covers if it weren't for you. Um, the only the Markel novel, which was before you. Everything else was with your assistance, and however you helped me find those people, and they gave us the designs to consider. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a collaboration for sure.
Yeah, that worked out really well. I've always said I am not a cover designer, you know, I'm just not. So anytime I can find somebody who can really do well with a cover, I'm all over it. You know, that's the best thing ever. So,
I want to add a compliment though to you in the cover design. Um, it was funny because when I think about the two covers that ended up being the first and the second St. Blair books, you had originally those were the ones you selected, and I had done a poll for the first one, and I kind of did a semi poll with the second one. But you had already predetermined pretty much what they were going to be, and I had Vince. Thank
that's
you.
funny. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Yeah, you know, sometimes you'll see three cover comps and you have no opinion. You know, I was like, whatever. I don't care either way. And then sometimes you do have a very strong opinion about what you're seeing. So yeah, it does help to get more than one opinion. And sometimes the author isn't right. You know, and going back to traditional publishing, which is where I came from, that was kind of a little bit typical. You know, the author maybe didn't quite have it right on the cover, or maybe didn't quite have it right on the title. And, you know, that's part of a publisher's job, is to just kind of move them in the right direction to really design something that's going to sell. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Thank you.
You so St. Blair, that series explores the dystopian culture, and you or dystopian future, and you there have got to be some interesting parallels with our current culture today.
Yes, there are. It's kind of be careful what you wish for because you just might get it, and that's basically the world that Sybil lives in. It is actually if you take, and I'm not trying to take any political stand here, but if you took a society that was really going towards a totally socialistic approach, but yet also incorporating some of the great, things that capitalism gives us, the entertainment and so forth. This is basically a world that kind of merges both, and it's a totally controlled environment. So you will be taken care of. You will be fed, you will be clothed, you will have everything you need, but you will also be told how that's going to happen and how that's going to work.
Wow,
Because the world in that day is overpopulated. So now the society has to control it. Plus, if you have a world that's that controlled, you also don't have a choice in your job. Your job will be selected for you because how else is this this world going to run? You know, so that's basically what the 2002 or 2202 society is all about, is being able to function, but also giving people what they want. But at a certain point, people start to realize that they are missing something.
Yeah. How crazy that somebody could determine what you do with the rest of your life. I know we've seen it in cultures, and it's just tragic that somebody else could determine that. So yeah, that's a really, it's interesting that you've taken it to the furthest, like you extrapolated out, okay, this is what you say you want, so this is what's
Yeah,
gonna
here
happen.
you got
Yeah.
health care, you've got total everything.
Right.
But is that really
Yeah.
exactly how you want it?
Maybe not. So how I mean, you can talk about it if you want to, but how has your faith influenced your writing? Has it at all?
Oh, yes, exactly. I'm a Catholic, obviously, from the book. It's got saints in it, and I'm kind of hoping that I've created either a new species, I guess, of or a new. I don't know whether to call it a species or a genre, because you've got werewolves, you've got vampires, you've got all of these zombies and so forth. And I'm thinking, well, saints were real people, but my faith, basically, as a Catholic, I love the supernatural qualities. I mean, there's tons of writing about saints, and if you actually believe in the faith that way, then you do have what you would say encounters. So if you pray for something and you receive answers, so that's basically how it's a longer explanation, I guess, than is good at this point, but I don't know if I'm making any sense. But anyway, yes, I enjoy my faith. I sometimes worry that people think it's kind of a crazy thing in a way, because if you actually believe, in the supernatural, then how is it that an example of a saint that was in a situation where Saint Isabel, my daughter Blair's saint name that she took for her confirmation name is Isabel. Well, Isabel lived in kind of like in a Renaissance time, and she had a husband who was very domineering, and she liked feeding the poor. And at the time that she was her husband caught her, and she was supposed to have baskets or loaves of bread in her apron. And when her husband asked her to show him what she had, she dropped her apron and roses fell out. So it was one of those, and it's a true story. I mean, it's out there. It's all about the saints. And those are the types of supernatural events that happen to real people. Saints are real people who lived in another time, or they're actually living today. And great things happen that are just miraculous. So I love those types of stories, and that's why, I wanted to try to create a story where perhaps young people today would try to kind of go back and read about the lives of the saints, Joan of Arc and so forth.
Yeah,
And
they were fascinating.
St. Michael the Archangel in it.
Yeah, they're definitely fascinating people. And it's interesting that you bring them up in your writing, because to me it's even more interesting than picking a figure from folklore and then all of a sudden creating this huge story around that figure. Well, that's really just a made up person,
Mm-hmm.
versus a saint being an actual real person with documented miracles and documented life. And that's fascinating. It's really fascinating.
And I think that we all have the ability to be a saint. That's part of the journey, is like, what is it your um, is it your walk, or is it your faith? What is it that brings you to this point that you can actually help other people and be closer to God? So,
Yeah. So, what is it that the future holds for you in your writing? What do you think you're going to be doing from this point?
Well, I would like to think that I'm eventually going to be more of a full-time writer. I am a sales rep. I have been working in the sales field for 28 years almost, and I'm screenwriting as well. I've written the screenplay for the novel Markel, and my daughter and my daughters, and the one manager are actually now looking to make this into a film, and that's part of the journey. But I'm also looking to screenwrite as well as write more novels. I have I guess a kind of a thriller that is a standalone novel that I want to write next. So I have, and I also have some memoirs that I want to publish as well. I've got we've discovered my grandmother's, my great great grandmother's diary, and it's over 900 pages. And it's something that I have to sift through, and so that's going to be enjoyable. But I want to be a full-time writer. I want people to be looking for me and enjoying whichever genre that I write in that is more in their interest line. So.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. Well, it's been super exciting and fun to talk with you today. Is there anything that you wanted to share with us that we didn't cover?
Well, yes, I guess. Please be looking for my screenplay and film announcements, as well as some other fun events that I hope to be putting together, video conferencing and things like that. That's coming, so that I can communicate more with the readers.
Well, that sounds great, and we'll be watching for that, and maybe even have you on BookTube Bestseller TV again, so you can talk about your journey with writing a screenplay and getting it to film, because I know so many authors have got to be just super excited about that possibility for their own books. So we really look forward to that. Once again, Emily is available on Amazon.com for book purchase via either paperback or Kindle. And to find her, just do Emily Skinner or E.W. Skinner on Amazon, and you will be able to find her there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was fun.